Okay, how to invest in dividends? Okay, so firstly, you don't invest in dividends, right? You invest in shares that pay dividends, right? There's just a bit of a difference there. Now, I said it on the other video as well. I've got a free webinar, right? I'm gonna just leave the link somewhere on here. You can go and check out the webinar. I cover all of this. I cover property, I cover shares, I even cover things like crypto, I cover ETFs, I cover online business, right? And I put it all together to show you how you should approach all of this. But you don't really invest, like I say, in dividends. You invest in companies, shares that pay out dividends. Now, remember, with dividends are only paid by a company if that company makes a profit. If the company doesn't make a profit, they will not declare a dividend, right? So some companies, especially companies that are well established, and if we really get into investment methodology, when a company is in a growth phase, they don't pay dividends because they need to use the money, for the growth of the company. But when a company is very well established, then they tend to pay dividends. And when you look at how dividends are paid, you find that they maybe pay, say, 1 rand a share, or 2 rand a share. It's not like these huge amounts. You're not going to get like 100 rand a share dividend. It's very rare that you're going to find something like that. So in the webinar that I'm speaking about, I actually point out that if you want to make significant money from dividend income, because dividend income is a form of passive income, you don't need to work for that money, but you need to have a massive share portfolio. So let's think about the idea of getting a 1 rand per share dividend. So if you want it to be substantial, in your life, how much do you need? Do you need them to pay you 100,000 rand in dividends for the year? Because dividends are also not paid like every month. Dividends are paid, it could be once a year, it could be twice a year. It just depends on the company's dividend policy. But if you want to make significant money from that, and the company is paying on average a 1 rand to a 2 rand dividend, imagine how many shares you need to have. You're going to need to have hundreds of thousands of shares, okay, sometimes millions of shares in that company for the dividend amount to be significant. If you only own 100 shares or 500 shares or even 1,000 shares, and they give you a 1 rand dividend, you've basically made 1,000 rand for the year, if that's what the dividend is for that year. So you've made 1,000 rand for the year. So if you want it to be significant, how many shares do you need? Maybe you need 100,000 or a million. Imagine if you have a million shares. Now you're getting a 1 rand dividend for each share you have, so you're making 1,000,000 rand. Okay, so that is the whole idea with investing in companies with dividends. You still need a lot of money to build a very large dividend check that you can get every single year. So just keep that in mind. If you do have the money, fantastic. You go and look for stable companies, the big companies like your ShopRites out there and the Woolworths. Those companies tend to pay dividends quite regularly. But it can change at any time, because the moment a company feels that they now need to go into a growth phase, then they will not declare dividend. It's up to the company directors to declare or not declare a dividend. It's not up. It doesn't mean you guaranteed, like if you buy into a company this year, you buy their shares, it doesn't mean guaranteed they're going to pay you a dividend every year. It depends on the company's corporate position and where they are in their growth phase.